everyone, brothers and sisters on Earth. It's me, Lori Ann Spagna from LoriSpagna.com, here with you today to chat briefly about the topic of ascending versus descending timelines, and comparing it also to the conversation about ascending beings versus descension or descending beings or beingness. So first, let's understand that the concept of ascension and the concept of descension are both related to the ascension timeline and the experience of ascension, awakening, and enlightenment on planet Earth for all humans who are actively engaging and willing to participate. For those of us who are choosing an ascending timeline and an ascension experience, what that means is that we are actively participating and engaging in shifting our energy, vibration, and consciousness so that we can align with the higher, clearer, purer frequencies as Earth, the planetary body known as Gaia Sophia, makes her ascension. The ascension process, which does require us to radically transform and shift who we are, how we vibrate, how we behave, what we believe and perceive, and how we interact with others, including our own selves. That ascension timeline, that ascension timeline is requiring us to make those radical changes so that we can continue to inhabit Earth on her ascension journey, and so that we can continue to be vibrationally compatible with her. But it also requires us to align with and up-level to or ascend vibrationally so that we are unifying with our mighty I Am presence. We could also call this our avatar self or our ever-eternal being. They're not all three exactly the same, although it's sort of semantics in a way. It's mostly important to understand that we are collecting all of the aspects of self that once lived in duality and polarity, various degrees of separation, separateness from one another and from all that is, and unifying to merge with that mighty I Am presence or that avatar self, the Christed being that we are, which has nothing to do particularly with organized religion, by the way. Our Christos Sophia, our masculine, feminine, unified as one divine source, our unification of ourself with our own avatar being. Now, this is what we call an ascension process, or the ascending timeline for any unique soul, and it is about harmonizing with the ascension of Earth's ascension, where she is shifting and evolving and changing her place in space, in the galaxy, in the cosmos, in the universe, and beyond. And her vibratory state, she herself is going through a healing process. And this is what we call an ascending timeline and an ascension process. We are the ones who change so that we can stay with Earth, Gaia Sophia, as she shifts and changes in her trajectory. Now, the descending timeline is a timeline that typically ends in some form of death, disease, decay, or separation. And it is the end of the human form as we have known it, And it is the end of human life as we have known it and as we have experienced it. So that old way of existing doesn't mean humans are going to end. It doesn't mean humanity has to end. That's not the story. It means the way we have been living and doing life and experiencing life and perceiving life, perceiving ourselves, perceiving our experience, the way we've been behaving and interacting, that is no longer going to continue. And so to remain on that timeline is essentially a self-destructive timeline. And we can see this happening in our external world. Although it's it's the kind of thing you see it happening around you, and you make choices in the experience of it to change, right? To change and to grow and to evolve and to up level and shift frequency, vibration, and consciousness, so that as you do, that descending timeline no longer continues to carry the energetics of your consciousness. And if your consciousness is not on that timeline, in a sense, you're aware of it, but you're not on it, you're not there, you're not vibrating with it, then as your consciousness shifts and vibrationally you shift, this new timeline with all new potentials and experiences and possibilities show up and reveal themselves to you. And those potentials, possibilities, and experiences tend to be overall much more benevolent, enjoyable, and desirable. Not absent of challenge, for sure. Not absent of learning experiences and opportunities for growth and evolution, because that will continue for quite some time, even on the Ascension timeline. But it just means that there is growth, there is learning, there is evolution as you're ascending, and as you are continually unifying with, we are unifying with our own divine source. And we could use the words, although this is sort of a linear way of categorizing it, we are stair-stepping, in a sense, our way to greater consciousness that is more unified, more and more unified, and more merged, in a sense, with all that is. And all that is what we could refer to as multidimensional layers of our own consciousness, our own energy, our own vibration, and the essence of who we truly are. And along this stair-stepping process, as I mentioned earlier, we're calling back fractal parts of ourselves, but we're also unifying with greater and greater aspects of ourselves, where we come into more unification with collective energies. We are part of collectives. We are angelic beings. We are ascended masters. We are multidimensional beings as part of collectives, and ultimately part of this divine source that is at one with us, that we become at one with as well. We recognize that all others are at one with that too, regardless of whether they know it or not. So I hope this helps. The main thing to understand is that your job is to experience yourself. If you're choosing an ascension process, an ascending timeline rather than a descending timeline, which is a chosen type of experiences that ultimately do lead to form various forms of, self-implosion, so to speak, or some kind of experience that is associated with death, disease, divorce, because that timeline is no longer beneficial for humanity. That is not a choice or a chosen experience for Mother Earth. She is choosing to leave that behind. So therefore, we can no longer survive there. If you're choosing ascension, and the most important thing is to always be choosing your most desirable alignment with health, happiness, well-being, peace, harmony, joy, love, service, and contribution to the greater good of all, including self. And of course, here's the big one, 100% self-responsibility. That means a requirement to self-parent yourself out of the experience of blaming another and or shaming another and or making someone else wrong for your experience. I'm saying your, but I mean all of us. So we must learn to evolve beyond blame and shame of others. That includes judgment as well, wrongness of others, or putting what our experience is onto another and perceiving that another is somehow in some way victimizing us and or sabotaging us and or is at the cause of our experience. So taking 100% responsibility requires us to recognize that we are the cause, the contributor, and the co-creator, or the creator ultimately, of our experience, and therefore through taking 100% responsibility for our experience, whatever that may be, whether it's how we feel, whether it's what we experience in any way, shape, or form, through taking 100% responsibility, that always will lovingly guide us toward the so-called high road. You always want to take the high road because the high road is the road to ascension. And that's the alignment with the ascension timelines. So you get to look at this in your life no matter what is going on in your external reality, and you get to consider all these things and make choices. Each and every choice counts. Each and every choice you make, whether it's a choice of how you think, how you feel, what you believe, how you behave, what you see, what you perceive, every choice that you make is a choice to either ascend or descend, and every moment to moment gives you opportunity to make choice after choice. The choice is entirely up to you. It's up to all of us, and this is when we get to choose. These are the major choice points going on Earth right now. We can see them. They're all around us, and they're in our personal lives and also on the collective. So I hope you will choose wisely for your most benevolent best. Whenever in doubt, always just ask consciousness, show me what is for my most benevolent best, ideally with harm to none. That alone will be a very good steering wheel. And of course, always intend to align yourself with your most benevolent best trajectory, timeline, situation, circumstance, and or scenario. Your intention is a driver's wheel. Okay? I hope that helps. And until next time, I love you guys so much. I hope to see you over at LoriSpagna.com. Join us for all the upcoming events. And until next time, I'm sending you all my love. Okay. Bye-bye.